Hi, my name is Sarah, which you probably already know if you're watching this. I work at the Midwest Writing Center, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to talk about my personal story, my personal history with the Midwest Writing Center, and hope that that is good to know. I'm honestly already kind of afraid to be real, to be vulnerable on here, but I think it's really important to talk about. A few times a year, I'll ask around for folks who I know through the Midwest Writing Center, and ask for testimony or whatever. But I always think that it's maybe a little inappropriate for me to give my own. But I think that I have both a typical and really special story about my relationship with the Writing Center. And so initially I heard about the Midwest Writing Center in high school. There was an ad in the paper, like the classifieds, about the internship, the Young Emerging Writers internship. And at that time, I was 17, I think. And I think probably everybody knew I wanted to write, but I was just not a very confident person and not involved with writing in any external way, right? I read a lot, but it was any writing I did was journaling and was private. And so that internship first, I got the internship. Really changed how I looked at myself and how I looked at writing. Obviously in a really important way, because it gave my self view, my understanding of the arts, some gravity and some like I had receipts. I could show that this is a real thing that people can do, and it's a labor and it's a delight. And then went off to college to learn more about English, reading and writing, and eventually and got involved with some stuff, and it was awesome. But eventually I had a bad time, not in college, but growing up was difficult and scary. And like anyone, I moved away from myself as I struggled. And eventually I decided to move back to Iowa. I was living on the West Coast. I was living in Iowa City, and Ryan, our director, and I think linked up on Facebook or something, and I started coming to Writing Center events, and I saw him at a writing festival in Iowa City, and that was really that ended up being really renewing, really invigorating, because I had not been involved in anything literary in some time. And when I first reconnected with Ryan, it was just assumed that this was part of who I am and part of my identity, and that right there was just the greatest gift. It felt like, he knew from when I was a teenager that it was something I was invested in, and that's important to me, but it felt very much like being seen in a really important, core way, because it has been so core and important to me, and it got so buried. So I started coming to Writing Center events, living in Iowa City, so it was something that took some planning. But I noticed every time I went to these events, I felt better. I wrote more. I felt like I had people in the world who understood that one most important thing to me, but also I wrote more. And fast forwarding through through the details of my life, I started volunteering because I needed to. I needed that for me, for my life. It was so good. So then, of course, I started hassling Ryan until I heard through the woman who did marketing before me that her position would eventually be opening up. And I went to someone at the job I had at the time. I went to the person who did marketing there, and I was like, can you teach me how to do this? I need to know. I went out of my way to get that experience at that job and to build my resume so that I would have a way to be valuable to this organization because of how valuable the organization was to me. And so there was quite a bit of labor on my behalf, which was, I mean, whether or not I ended up working for the Writing Center, it was so good to, I wouldn't have phrased it this way at the time, but so good to know that I had something I needed, I was willing to work for in that way. And yeah, my involvement with the Midwest Writing Center got me to move back to the Quad Cities, where, you know, I'm from. And it, you know, now I worry about coming off as somebody who works in marketing, which is part of my job. But I just love this place so, so much. And I know firsthand how it, in many ways, in many different ways, and in many different times in my life has kept me on this side of a dark line. But also, I know it from other people telling me, from being involved in other people's experience of the Writing Center, and how it brings light in moments that we maybe don't realize are dark. I'm like, I want to talk about this time. I was tabling at an event and this, but I'm only talking about me today. I mean, I get to find ways in this job. I guess I'm kind of now bragging about my job, but I get to find ways to make literary programming work that people want to see. I get to hang out with my community, but with all manner of my community in all different settings. And it's, maybe it's cliche, but it's so very obvious to me that, like, through that which brought me back to life, I get to help other people come back to life. There's, I mean, and hopefully not everybody is on some sort of brink, but there is always more light to bring. It's the most special thing in the world. I don't have any numbers or statistics in front of me. I'm on my phone here in my kitchen. I've got a notebook and a to-do list. Like, it's not, this isn't super well thought out or anything. This is all just, how lucky I feel about this place existing, how lucky I feel to have this org in my life, how lucky I feel to have the job I do. And I know so many of my friends through the Writing Center. I have met so many and learned from so many just standout, stellar writers because of this place. I know how many people I see, you know, when I go out, who are excited and benefit from this work, but also everyone I meet, even if it's not through the Writing Center, is excited to learn that I work in writing because they have a story to tell. They have a project they've had in mind for half their life, and they want to do it, and they haven't had the means or opportunity or the encouragement to do it. And that's the best thing that you can give to a person, including yourself. Anyway, all of this is really getting to year-end giving stuff. If you have some spare change, you can donate to our year-end giving campaign. All sorts of nonprofits are struggling right now, but tons and tons and tons of money was taken from the arts this year. So you know that your favorite arts orgs are struggling. And we know, of course, there are tons of really beautiful and important places to put whatever spare change you have to help our community, help our world. But we hope that making the arts accessible to anybody who wants to be involved in creating writing, we hope that matters enough to throw a few bucks at it. Because that is what we do. That is the goal. That is the enterprise, is to get accessible literary content, accessible writing skills, classes, workshops, information to anyone who wants it. So you can hit our website or our link tree, mwcqc.org, or our link tree is, I don't actually know where the period goes in the link tree URL. I'll link it wherever I post this, the place to donate. Thanks for hanging out. I hope that you have an experience with the Writing Center that you send me, and then we can tell the world about you, and it'll be a little less weird for me. But also, I hope you keep writing. I hope that you write more light into your life.